This class started by looking at some basic definitions of terms such as nutrition versus nutrients, and then those 6 classes of nutrients: the carbohydrate, lipids, proteins, and vitamins, minerals, and water. The next 2 lessons, we're going to look at those final 2 classes of nutrients, minerals and water. They will be divided into, the first lesson will cover water and major minerals, and the second lesson will look at the trace minerals. Now those terms, major and trace, may make it sound as if one is more important than the other, but it's not the case. Major just means that we need to consume 100 milligrams of it per day or more, and then trace we need less than 100 milligrams. Major would include things such as calcium, sodium, and potassium, and trace would include things such as iron, zinc, and iodine. We also take a look at water during these lectures because water is so linked with the minerals, in particular the electrolytes. So the water is the first mineral or first nutrient that will kill you. Within a week, if you don't drink, you're going to die from dehydration. But the body has no direct mechanisms for regulating the flow of water in the body. Instead, it regulates electrolytes. Now, sometimes you think about consuming electrolytes with something like Gatorade, and it's great advertising about how it replaces those lost electrolytes with exercise. And it is a good source of those lost nutrients. But we need to understand the flow and the regulation of electrolytes so that we can understand the regulation and flow of water in the body. So we'll be looking at that, in particular at the kidneys. Other things that we'll look at with this discussion of water is how much do we need. It's a common myth that you need to have 8 cups of water every day. I've actually had students who will pour out 8 cups of water in the morning and make sure they drink that throughout the day. It's not true. It is a myth. We need about 8 cups of fluid, but it doesn't have to come just from water. It can come from our food, such as our apples and bread and meat, and things such as Coke and coffee and tea even. So we'll look at where do we get our fluid needs. We'll also take a look at how much we put out and factors that someone would need more one day versus the other, and then what happens if we don't consume enough. As I said, it's the first thing that will kill you, but we have other symptoms way before that, so we'll take a look at how the body regulates that. Then we'll look at the minerals. As we did with the vitamins, we'll go through each mineral. We'll look at food sources, we'll look at the functions of them in the body, and we'll look at how the body regulates and transports them. Finally, we'll look at deficiencies and toxicity. Minerals are a little bit different than vitamins. When you have a vitamin deficiency, it develops a disease. Vitamin C, scurvy, B1, beriberi, but not with minerals. Minerals are related to diseases which have multiple factors. For example, you drink too much sodium, whether something from Gatorade or your salt on your pretzels, it is linked with hypertension. But there are many factors linked with the risk for developing hypertension, and sodium is just one of them. Another example would be osteoporosis. It's a long-term condition linked with many factors, including a lifelong low intake of calcium. So minerals are linked with diseases that have multiple factors, and we'll look at how those are related. So overall, we're going to review the last 2 classes of nutrients in the next 2 lessons. We're going to look at the sources of fluids and the minerals. We're going to look at how the body regulates them, and then finally, how do they impact our health, whether on the short-term basis, something like dehydration, or the long-term basis with hypertension and osteoporosis.